Good morning, everybody. Minister, Ambassador, dear guests, thank you very much for inviting European Commission to this event and for this possibility for me to meet with your research and innovation community and to listen to your ideas and expectations. What I'm going to do is I will take you briefly through the new policy actions that we are rolling out right now in the Commission, trying to sort of reach out to you and encourage you to participate. But before I do that, let me maybe take briefly stock of where we are as a Greece with innovation today. Well, maybe let's first start with the European Union. As you perhaps know, we perform relatively well on the global level as innovators. We still continue to be less innovative than South Korea, which is even sort of increasing gap towards the Europe, but we are closing gap both on the United States and Japan, and the differences that were separating us from them in the recent years became relatively smaller. Now, if you look at the EU as a whole, if you look at the EU at the level of the member states, we see there are quite important differences in innovation performance. And Greece is among the countries referred by the European Innovation Scoreboard as a moderate innovator, which is a sort of euphemism, but together with 13 other EU countries. Now, according to this analysis, your innovation relative strengths are human resources and introducing product and process innovation in SMEs, as well as market and organizational innovation. So this is something you should build on in the future. We heard something from the Minister about the research and development expenditure in the public sector, which indeed is about 25% less than EU average. So it was very elevating to hear that you managed last year to increase actually the level of spending on research and development by 14%. But the research and development expenditure in the private sector is much less. And of course, we all understand the reason. In difficult economic times, the first priority of companies for surviving is actually drastically reduce the expenditures, including for research and innovation. But that is why Horizon 2020, which was mentioned before, could play here an important role for Greek companies that are looking for additional financial resources for their research and development activities. So far, about 1,100 Greek companies, including research institutes, big companies and SMEs, have received more than 350 million funding from Horizon 2020. And if you look at the success rate, it's pretty good. It's around 12%, whereas the average rate in the European Union is around 13%. So you have the capacity to be there in Horizon 2020. You have a capacity to work together with European partners. Well, you have also capacity to learn from Israeli partners who actually have one of the highest rates of success under Horizon 2020. Now, I think it's also important because many of you mention or will mention the problem of commercializing the results of the research, and I will come back to it later, but also to remember that here in Greece we have a very active European enterprise network that should be helping actually Greek companies to turn the results of research into commercial products and services applied. And you are a very active member of this network, so I simply encourage you to use it even more to promote technology transfer and the uptake of new products. So now something about the actions. I think it comes very handy because yesterday we launched here in Athens the 2017 European Social Innovation Competition. That has been a huge success. I think last year we had more than 1,000 applications for 3 prizes. This is the 5th edition of this prize, and this time the theme is inequalities, or is how digital technologies could actually help to contribute to social fairness. And that's, I think, quite interesting because very often many people look at digital technologies, well, as something absolutely great and fascinating, but very often constituting a sort of threat to their life careers. And in this case, you wanted to find out the ways with which social innovators could actually use the innovative digital technologies close the gap, to bring the people who are otherwise marginalized back to the labor market. And there are many technologies like this today, but blockchain perhaps, which allows you to eliminate the central platform, the intermediary, is probably one of them, but I will say something about it later. So social innovation is also, I think, very timely if we look at the mood that is prevailing in our societies. We define it as a novel solution to a social problem where the value created accrues primarily to society rather than to private individuals. And we think that very much in our societies we see this drive for the economy based on values. And it's also important in those times where we see so much impact of populism, because social innovation not only corresponds to replies to social needs, but also creates a community of people, a network of people working together. And that normally allows people very well, or much better, to confront themselves with globalization. And I think this is a very important message for the times we are living in. Now, if we look at the most successful Greek application in the competition last year, which was about migrants, that was about the creation of a new social enterprise called Solidarity Salt. There was employing refugee women with the task to collect sea salt from the Greek salinas and sell it abroad, involving both skilled and unskilled refugee employees. And of course, the main aim of the whole thing was to open up a new perspective of work and career for the lives of some refugee women. So there are plenty of great ideas floating around. I simply would like to encourage you to participate in the competition this year. Pass this information elsewhere. The main prize is €50,000, but we also offer a lot of mentoring, and we also offer a lot of possibilities to increase the impact of the project and to upscale in other parts of the European Union. Now, maybe I was talking about social, and that provides me a bit of starting point for the other actions I wanted to mention too. Yesterday we had a big conference in Brussels on industrial policy, and the innovation was the leading theme there. And we built this conference around 3 pillars, and I think that all of them are pretty relevant for innovation. People, territories, and technologies. People meaning primarily skills, territories meaning primarily ecosystems, place-based innovation policies, and technologies meaning getting better prepared for disruptive technologies, and also setting up a better framework for innovation-related legislation. So if I start by skills, I just wanted to bring your attention to the recent project we launched in the Commission, which is called Blueprint for Skills, which for the first time is the idea of picking up 6 sectors, among them defense, maritime, tourism, textiles, car making and space, and trying to look together with the industry, do some mapping and pull out a strategy for skills that would actually let those industries to be ahead of the competition in the next 10-20 years. So it is the industry which should be telling us which kind of skills they will need in order to be competitive and innovative in the next 10 and 20 years. And this is one part of the project. The other part of the project, which is also interesting from the part of the citizen, is actually, if I want to work in this particular sector, where I can get those skills. And for this we use funding from Erasmus. It's 5 million each sector, and we'll be building up the platforms together with member states, together with regions, which actually will deliver on those skills. So if right now I am a truck driver that is actually increasingly worrying about my work career and future, and I want to think that I could do something in one of those sectors, I should be able to know what type of skills I need for this, but also I should be able to know where I can get those skills. Now, if we now move, perhaps maybe one more message which came out very strongly from the yesterday conference was on creativity. Creativity is a sort of transversal theme that actually should be not only linked to culture and creative industries, but should be a part of every single sectoral policy. And what we'll be doing, we'll also try to include into this scheme what we term creativity-related skills. Now, if I move now to territories, or what we term also now the cooperation for competition, the initiative we are rolling out right now is so-called Smart Specialization Platform or Industrial Modernization. And this has two dimensions. One is the regional cooperation. As you know, I think in Greece you have 8 regions with smart specialization strategies, and those smart specialization strategies often have priorities that are linked to innovation, that are linked to key enabling technologies or to advanced manufacturing. So the idea is that we should link those regions together so that we do not replicate the same thing, but we build something across Europe, cross-border, in the form of EU value chain, which of course can be a part of a global value chain. So what we do, we offer to the regions who want to work together in a given area that is linked to innovation and industrial modernization, a set of tools that actually help them to work together, and most importantly, to invest together, because at the end of the process, what we see as a sort of ultimate objective is the investment projects. We see already with so-called Vanguard initiative that moved quite far, and we are helping them right now to set up regional demonstrators that will actually allow for commercialization of the results of research, in particular of Horizon 2020. So until now, the platform is operating only for a couple of months, but we have already 40 regions involved. We have 7 thematic networks that work along the topics such as 3D printing, smart tools, or innovative textiles. And we as a Commission, we set up for those regions different tools that should help them actually to work. For example, they have the possibility to use vouchers in order to employ specialists that are dealing with financial engineering. That is something we actually spotted as one of the difficulties they encounter in their cooperation. At the same time, we also do have some funding for clusters which want to work together along the same lines. So if there are 2 or 3 clusters in Europe which would like to join their forces and develop something, again, related to smart specialization strategies, industrial modernization, key enabling technologies, we'll be helping them, and they should meet together with regional authorities somewhere in the middle. So I would like very much, again, extend this concept to you and encourage you to come and participate. Now, the last point I wanted to make is about technologies. We are doing a couple of exercises in this area, including the review of key enabling technologies. This is the concept that comes from 2008, and we still need to check whether it is fit for the future. We are also using a little bit new approach in order to look at the most promising technologies and see what we as a regulator should do in this respect. And that also relates in a way to a requirement which is put on the public administration in the context of innovation. So we have right now set up so-called EU Policy Lab, which is a sort of generating this type of innovative ideas. And one of the technologies which we defined as a subject of this exercise is blockchain technology. So what we'll be doing over the next couple of months, we'll be looking at this technology, we'll be looking at this disruptive potential, and we also see what can we do as regulators in order to prepare the economy and to make the best out of this technology in the years to come. So this is sort of forward-looking approach which would allow us to be proactive rather than trying to follow on developments when they already happen. So this is what I wanted to tell you. I don't want to give you an advice because maybe you have been receiving too much advice from the European Commission in the last years. So it's simply, I think that those actions make sense. I think that you, Greek entrepreneurs and innovators, could benefit those tools if you join in. You are the land of Eureka, after all. You are the land of great innovators. So please join in. We are there in Brussels, but we are also here in the Athens in order to help you and guide you. And I'm sure that this type of cooperation could benefit both of us. Thank you very much.